Here are my must-have games for the Steam Deck. I'm sure everyone watching this video knows how close we are to the Steam Deck's launch, for a select few people, of course. All of us other people who got Q1, Q2, and even after Q2 have to wait much, much longer to get our hands on one of the coolest handhelds that's ever been dreamt up. But since I'm obsessed with this thing, I started writing down all the games I really want to play on it, to the point where I've been saving games, like I see them and I'm like, oh, that'd be perfect on Steam Deck. And now that we already know a ton of the games that Valve has verified thanks to Steam.db, I figured I'd go through and cross-reference my list and pick out a few of the games that I'm really excited to check out. And then after that, I'm going to talk about some games that are missing that I think Valve really needs to figure out quick. I got to say this on the last video and I'm stoked I get to say it again. Thanks so much for the support you showed this channel so far. If you're really excited for the Steam Deck and you want to see more videos like this one, make sure you let me know by subscribing and setting your notifications to all. The first game I saw when I opened up SteamDB and saw all the verified games was Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I literally went, yes, I am so glad this game is verified, because I don't think this is recency bias since the game came out in 2019 and I've played it about 4 times now. It's probably the best survival horror game ever made. Even though it's a remake, I think they did a better job than the original. Don't kill me in the comments, please. Everything from the shooting to the atmosphere to the level design to Mr. X, the zombies having weight, it's all just like what you build up 90s zombie horror as in your head, and it felt like playing your nostalgic memories but not being disappointed. And having this on a handheld, I feel like is going to make it a lot more scary. My evidence for that is I played through Resident Evil 4 on the Switch with a nice pair of headphones, and even though that game is definitely more action horror, the intro is very creepy and it got me with some of the jump scares. I'm gonna be real with you guys. So yeah, seeing that this is verified for the Steam Deck and really just knowing that it runs at all, that made me let out a huge sigh of relief. This is one of my favorite games ever. And then right after that, I was like, yes, again, because I saw Resident Evil Village is also supported by the Steam Deck. This is a different game, obviously, than Resident Evil 2. You play it in the first person perspective. It's a lot more of a shooter. It definitely goes a little bit more for action. Like, this game feels a lot more inspired by Resident Evil 4 than even Resident Evil 7 did. That game went for like pure terror, trying to be more like Evil Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, whereas Resident Evil Village is more like Eastern European horror and gives you a lot more power. Your guns have a lot of stopping power, you always have range between you and most of the enemies, and there's one terrifying part in the house where there's like a big worm that chases you, but other than that, it's a little more action heavy. So to know that this runs really well on the Steam Deck is another like, yeah, I'm so excited to play this. I'm curious if it'll be able to hit 60 frames per second, but if it can, that's gonna be sick because, again, it's a first-person shooter. I wanna play FPSs at 60 frames per second. Another first-person game that I'm pretty sure is going to run at 60 frames per second lock just because it's a little older is Dishonored. This game originally came out the same weekend as Borderlands 2, and I remember that specifically because that weekend, my buddies and I in college, we took our gaming PCs, like our full desktops, down to the really nice computer lab that people used for like CAD modeling and stuff. We plugged our gaming PCs into the really nice monitors, and we were all playing Borderlands 2, but my friend Brady had Dishonored, and I was watching him out of the corner of my eye play it, and he ended up beating it in one sitting, and everything I saw from that game made me feel like I made the wrong choice with my $60 buying Borderlands 2. And that was a tough purchase back then. I was in college, I didn't have a ton of money. So that Christmas when the Steam sale rolled around, I bought the game and I loved it. It is so good. It's a perfect game for Steam Deck. It's single player. The cell shaded-ish graphics are gonna look really good on a handheld. Honestly, I don't know why this game has never come to a handheld, but I'm glad it's verified for Steam Deck. Now we gotta talk about a couple PlayStation games that I'm honestly a little surprised are verified. Like, I feel like I gotta test them. I'm a little bit skeptical. First off is God of War. The reason I'm skeptical is I tried this game out on the Aya Neo Next, and it was very hard to get it to run at 30 frames per second, like 30 frames per second. So I don't even want to think about trying to run it at 60, but I had to drop it down to the absolute lowest settings. I even tried dropping the resolution a little bit. Nothing I really did got it to run over 35 frames per second, so I'm really hoping that the power difference here between the Aya Neo Next and the Steam Deck results in this game running and looking better on the Steam Deck. I think it helps a lot that the Steam Deck has AMD's FSR built in from Go. I think that's definitely going to come into play with this game and the next game, which is Horizon Zero Dawn. Now that game ran even worse on the Aya Neo Next. Like, it looked really bad. I got it to lock at 30, but the the popping was terrible, the jagged edges were just not great, FSR didn't look that good, dropping the resolution worked, but the game just looked so blurry already that I would consider it unplayable on that device. So yeah, I hope it runs better on the Steam Deck. I was just honestly shocked to see that it's verified for the device. But if they're saying it runs, they've showed us the games that they say running really well with these YouTubers who got to try out other games. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I'm gonna try these games day one. I really hope they work because in the last video, I asked what people are excited to play when they get their Steam Deck. And the game that got mentioned the most is God of War. And it is a really good PC port. So yeah, I don't know. I keep saying I'm skeptical, but I'm really cautiously optimistic. Horizon, on the other hand, I think that one's gonna be a little tougher. Sticking with the PlayStation theme here, Death Stranding is a game that I feel like is made Steam Deck. I played this when it came out on PC last year, and I really liked the story, and I liked the open world, and I liked a lot of the gameplay, but I got bogged down by the sheer amount of side quests in this game, and that's where the handheld aspect of the deck comes in so handy. It's perfect for those types of games where the side stuff is kind of monotonous, kind of cookie cutter, kind of repetitive, and you just want to blast through it while you're watching TV. When you have a handheld, that's very easy to do. And knowing that the Steam Deck is coming out on February 25th, but most people are going to get it after that, the director's cut of Death Stranding comes to Steam around March 30th, I want to say, so it's going to be perfect timing to jump back into this game, and yeah, I'll finally beat it because I didn't finish it. I feel bad admitting that. I really like Hideo Kojima, but those side quests were just too much, and I have that completionist brain where I cannot leave side quests undone. I just can't do it. And I guess we should move on to the next game because I had the exact same issue with it, Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, I wasn't shocked to see that this is verified for the Steam Deck because I played it on the Aya Neo Next, and it ran at native resolution, locked at 60 at high settings, and it never dropped to 59 FPS. This game runs like a dream on that device, so I'm assuming that because it's verified and I have that other evidence, it's gonna run just fine on the Steam Deck. The reason I even decided to download this game is because I was emulating the PSP version of Peace Walker, my favorite Metal Gear Solid game, and then I had that light bulb moment where I was like, wait, I can just play the bigger version of this game, which is Metal Gear Solid 5, and it totally ran great. This is another one that I'm excited to give another playthrough. I did finish Metal Gear Solid 5, but it took a very long time. Like, I would take big breaks between it, and I would forget how to play and have to relearn, so I'm excited to play it start to finish here on a handheld, because it's gonna make those side ops manageable, and that's what's important. If you guys didn't know I was a horror fan, you're gonna know it after this list. A game that I think is gonna run like a dream on the Steam Deck is The Evil Within. This game was kind of a big deal when it came out for a few reasons. Back in 2014, it was a PS3/PS4 game where Shinji Mikami came back and did a survival horror game in the style of Resident Evil 4, but it was like a whole new universe, and by most accounts, mine included, he did a really good job with this game. The combat's a little floaty, but they've improved it over the years, and they thankfully added in a way to take off the letterboxing bars that this game had, which was something that I had never seen before in a AAA third-person shooter. The one thing that really stands out to me about this game is that when you kill a zombie, you have to light it on fire or else it'll come back to life. I just thought that was such a sweet mechanic back in the day. And this is a game where, again, I played it in chunks because it came out in a really busy October for me. I would come back to it, play a couple hours, then take a huge break. So having it on a handheld, I'm very excited to run through it from start to finish because apparently it's only gotten better with age. So yeah, I'm excited to check it out. As soon as Psychonauts 2 came out last year and got a ton of great reviews, I was like, I'm saving this for the Steam Deck. I don't know if it's the fact that it's an action platformer or the art style kind of reminding me of the Daxter game on PSP. Something about this game made me go, yeah, I want to play this on a handheld. So when I saw that this is verified on that big list of verified games, I let out a little like, yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited to check this game out. It kind of reminds you why video games are video games and not movies, and I just think that's cool. It got a ton of great reviews, so yeah, this is probably a good game to check out. Now, it is on Game Pass, obviously, because it's an Xbox Studios game, but you're gonna need to install Windows to get Game Pass, and I've seen this go on sale a few times on Steam for like 20 or 30 bucks, so I think it's probably gonna be worth just paying the asking price for instead of installing an entirely new operating system on your new handheld. And Valve, while you're at it, can you take a look at the two Costume Quest games? I'm pretty sure they're gonna run just fine, but I want that peace of mind. If you guys don't know what they are, they're JRPGs that Double Fine made, where you play as kids running around on Halloween, and the things you dress up as, you literally turn into those in the turn-based battles. So you turn into like a Godzilla or like a giant robot. It's awesome. I've always wanted it on a handheld, and they never released it on the Switch for some reason. I have no idea why, because they ported it to iPhone. So now it seems like I'm finally gonna have my dreams come true, and I'm gonna have a Halloween game to play on a handheld. It's a very specific dream to me, I know, but it's exciting, you know? If any of you follow me on Twitter, you know that I've been having a ton of problems with Dying Light 2 on PC, so I was a little surprised when I saw that Dying Light 1 is verified for the Steam Deck. Now, this game was really hard to run when it came out, but I actually played it leading up to Dying Light 2, and I was pulling like 300 FPS, 200 FPS. I could lock it at 144, completely maxed out at 1440p, and the game really holds up. So while I wait for Techland to realize that Denuvo sucks and is ruining their game for a lot of people, I'm glad I get to play Dying Light 1 on my Steam Deck. It's like a little bit of a consolation, you know? Not too much, just a little bit, because Denuvo sucks. I'm like a baseline annoyed instead of extremely angry. And finally, a game that I'm really excited to go back to is Portal 2. It's one that I beat when it came out. It's one of my favorite games of all time, but I've only played it once. And I remember how much I loved it because it's the very first game review I ever wrote. I wrote it on my iPhone 4 in senior year history class. I was talking to my buddies about it. I was like, I'm gonna review Portal 2, and I made a little blog and everything. It was awesome. It's also a Valve game, and I feel like I should play a Valve game on the Steam Deck pretty early at launch. And weirdly enough, this is the only one that's verified so far at the time of writing this video. So those are a few of the verified games that I'm really excited to play, but now let's talk about some of the omissions that I feel like Valve needs to figure out sooner rather than later. All right, so we know Portal 2 works, but what about the original Portal? What about Half-Life 2 and its 2 episodes? What about Left 4 Dead 2? These are all really important games that I feel like would run like a dream on a handheld system. Like Left 4 Dead on a handheld, oh my God. Guys, I have to go. I have to go play Left 4 Dead 2 right now. I'm pretty positive these will be verified by the time the device releases because Half-Life 2 runs on Android devices, so they don't really have an excuse not to have it run here. But even if it's not verified, I feel like it's gonna work just fine. You probably just have to remap a few of the controls, which really is no big deal. It's not like installing Windows. I can already hear the dead game comments coming, but it's not dead. I really want them to get Destiny 2 running on the Steam Deck. I'm excited for the Witch Queen. I put 500 hours into this game and doing stuff like running Gambit, running the weekly strikes, even maybe doing the Nightfall and getting kicked out of my party because I suck and I'm playing at 30 FPS. All that stuff is what I want to do on the Steam Deck. All this busy work that they make you do in Destiny is perfect for a handheld while I'm watching horror movies on my TV. The issue with Destiny 2 in the Steam Deck is that BattleEye is the anti-cheat software that they use in Destiny, and that's not available at launch, it seems like, for the Steam Deck. But back in September, the CEO of BattleEye said that it'll come soon. So maybe we won't have to wait that long after launch, and I'm hoping that once it is ported over, it just works right away with Destiny. Like, they make it available and it just works fine. But yeah, sticking with the online games that won't work initially, Dead by Daylight is one that I was really excited to play on the Steam Deck because Behavior Interactive, they announced when the Switch version came out that they were going to add cross progression with the Switch version and PC in Stadia. It only came out for Stadia and it has still not come out for the Switch version. My main platform where I have all the DLC is PC, so I would really like to have that version of the game available on the Steam Deck. Behavior did make a definitive statement that Dead by Daylight will run eventually on the Steam Deck, but we just don't know how long it's going to take. And judging by how late they are on that cross progression with the Switch, I'm not gonna bet it's coming anytime soon. I'd love to be wrong though. I just realized while I was making this list that I didn't talk about any survival games, and No Man's Sky is the one that I have the most experience with. I check it out every time they update it, and now it is a really good game. It was not when it came out, but now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure No Man's Sky doesn't even use anti-cheat, so I feel like it's just not verified yet. But this is a game I'd really like to play on the Steam Deck because survival games are cool. This is a chill one. There's no real combat per se in it. Like, you can shoot stuff and you can kill monsters, but like, that's not the focus of the game, which makes it feel like something perfect for a handheld. All right, so that about wraps it up for my extremely long list of verified games on the Steam Deck, and a few that aren't verified that I would like to be verified. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, help me out by subscribing, and also let me know some of the games you're really excited to play, especially if they're on the verified list down in the comments below. Also, let me know if something isn't verified and you want it to be so I can look into it for a future video. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for today. So thanks again so much for checking out the channel. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne, and I'll see you in the next one. Shape on.